How's it going? This is Margaret King-Ahmed with another Parent Talk snippet. I'm here in the Dearborn Schools in the Dearborn District providing Parent Talk. It looks this way and it looks that way. That's the new version. This is the old version. Anyway, it's a Parent Talk system that is skill-based and research-based. It's been around for probably 40 years actually. And because it's skill-based and research-based, it is still timeless today. We find that a lot of the skills today are even working, the skills that were put together back then are still working for today. It's about teaching parents and kids how to be more responsible. So my guest today is Guzal.
Correct.
Yeah, and her last name, I'm going to have her say her last name because it's a mouthful for me. Go ahead.
Sultanbekova.
Yeah, she says it so beautifully too. So anyway, so you came and took a class with me. The Parent Talk
Yes, that
class.
was back in fall last year.
Yep.
I'm very happy I did it. That was very inspiring. It was in many ways eyes-opening, sometimes challenging, and although I don't remember exactly the topics of that book we discovered, but I know what's lying beyond those terms and concepts and ideas, and I believe that I'm using it at least at 50-60%, something I still working and improving myself actually. And just a few words about why it was so important to me, because my older kid is 5 years old. He just started his first year in the school, in the kindergarten.
Yes.
And my little one is approaching his 3 years. So there are two boys. The age difference is about 2.5. And when I was expecting my little one, I was told by many friends and mothers especially, that's a very challenging age difference, 2 years and a half. And when he actually came into this world, I witnessed that.
Yeah.
My older one became very jealous.
Yes.
He didn't understand how come his mommy and his daddy was all his, and all of a sudden he's on the backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes.
So, and by the time he went to the school, sometimes he was kind of, I thought it's just a misbehavior. Sometimes you should, I don't know, maybe it's only my own experience, not somebody else, that's the way he feels that. It's not just like you shouldn't call it like misbehavior. It's just very deep feeling which a little boy does not understand to the full extent, and he cannot cope with that.
So you took the class. So you heard about the class, and then what sparked your interest? And when did you hear Parent Talk, and you were thinking, "Oh, parents, we're going to get together and talk," or what did you think?
Actually, I didn't hear about that. So the first thing I heard about it is when I received this
like
leaflet.
a flyer.
Like a leaflet and a flyer. Saying that there will be classes. So at first I thought that it's only one session.
Yeah.
And I thought, anyway, I'm gonna go and listen. But when I found out that it's actually a set of lectures, and when I came first, and there were only a small group of parents, and we had this face-to-face, very
one-on-one,
cozy.
Yes.
It was like a family discussion, like when Margaret is with all her experience and women, mothers and grandparents' wisdom, and as a professional, first of all, would explain to you that it's she just basically you guided us through all those.
I dive right in. So she found out it wasn't just a couple skills, but 21 skills, and it's fun to have parents come and talk and share with the audience, what's working, what's not working. And so can you give me in the audience, some information about maybe one thing that you tweaked or something changed, like when you gave, like the one skill was about giving choices, letting kids be decision makers, the having kind of their own autonomy over things. But can you give me like maybe an example of something that you did feel you implemented, you maybe tweaked it for yourself, and it's working, it's giving you an outcome or consequence that is more positive than negative?
Well, the two major things. There are a lot of. When we go through the entire day with my kid, with this interaction, because I'm not leaving them behind the line. You have to interact with your child.
Right.
So the major thing I would say is going with the appreciative and descriptive praise.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we actually talked a lot about. With my husband. So we know now that we don't just drop those, oh, good job.
Good job. Oh, yeah, the good job bombs.
And I was told about that a lot of people here in the United States, that kids get praised a lot, and then all of a sudden in the high school they're not get praised because they're now getting ready for the college, for the like adult life, and nobody's praising them for any kind of little thing, and they have this cognitive dissonance in their mind, like what's going on.
Well said.
All of a sudden I'm not the star.
Somebody's not telling me good job. So the descriptive and the appreciative is a way to praise your kids, but in a way that says, I value you, I see and I notice and observe that you are capable, and then you give it back to them by saying, I really appreciate you taking the garbage out without being told. I noticed that you did your homework and you did it quickly without any trouble. Can you tell me about that? I really appreciate your efforts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what going on. And it's working with him as a little kid. He helps me a lot. Now with the cleaning the table. Like, this is very basic. Some people say, like, this is not much, but it's actually a lot. Like, half a year ago, I wouldn't imagine what I can do to easily transition him. That he stands up from the kitchen table, from the dining table, and he actually goes
helps,
back.
contributes.
And now I even don't need to say that. Like, I see that he is going with his dish back to the kitchen. He puts it on the table.
On the counter.
And all I say that you helped me a lot. Thank you very much for that.
I appreciate your efforts.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are two of my favorites as well, the descriptive and the appreciative praise, because the more we notice the kids when they're making these positive choices, the less of the negative choices they'll make. Because typically what we find, the research shows that kids act up a lot of times because they don't feel like anybody's paying attention to them. And the way to get attention is to have somebody scream at you, typically. Why did you hit your brother? Why did you leave a mess? Turn that water off. How many times have I told you? And we get into kind of a struggle, right, with them. In this way, we can transition. That was a perfect word. Transition our own self, our own thinking, our own consciousness to say, how can I turn this around so the child can feel more valued?
Exactly. Yeah. And this goes then and just extrapolates to all different parts of his little life. Like, I would explain him how to use a hanger and how to put his jacket on the hanger. So now he even goes like, he can grab a chair and go and try to find some sweets in the board.
Gosh, yes.
So I say, look, you know how to grab a chair and find some sweets. So you
Check
can
yourself.
do absolutely the same with your jacket.
Yes.
Grab your chair. The hanger is at the same height as the sweets. And he would say, like, okay, he's been caught up in the middle. Like, he cannot now deny that. If you cannot grab your chair, get the jacket, so you're no longer be allowed to go and grab some sweets. So don't tell me you cannot, it's too high or something.
Right. So they learn to problem solve.
Yeah.
If they use
so
the
sometimes
critical...
you don't even like to say you have to do
Do
it,
this,
you're
yes,
you're a
yeah.
big boy or something.
no.
So you go through this little trick because kids can be tricky too. They always lead you into some kind of a little trap to get out of something from you. So when you actually can be, a parent can be the same way, can use this little trick, so they kind of they're thinking they're
gonna get
their
away with
brains
something.
are kind of working. Okay.
It's what we call that emotional button. They know where your emotional button is, and you kind of know where their emotional button is. And so we're the mirror, right? And so we have to make sure that we're the role models for how we want our kids to act or behave and learn how to be appropriate. So yeah, this is so helpful. So you've noticed the change in the kids.
Yeah, this is one of the change. The other one, which helped me a lot, is about this the consequences.
Oh, yeah.
I come from the legal background. Back in my home country, I worked as a lawyer.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, for me, the world is a world of logic and
Yeah,
a world
of
of
law and
as
court.
a law, I understand there is an action and there is a consequence.
Yes.
This is basically, we all aspire to justice, to emotion, that we can expect that people are all nice, but it's better to expect that people are nice when you are nice, and if you're doing nice things, the good things are coming.
Yeah.
But what we try to teach our kid, if you're doing bad things, the bad consequences come.
The negative consequence will happen.
Yeah. So we try to teach him that first.
And that the consequences are related, they're reasonable, they're respectful.
Exactly. This is because back half year ago, I never thought of that actually.
Yeah.
That you remember we discussed it with other parents. Like they say, if you don't clean up your room, you don't go to Uncle Sam. I was thinking, what's the reason? Most probably, you would 100% you would go to Uncle Sam in the end of the day, because it's not because of the kid you're going there.
Yeah.
You would go there anyway. What's the point of threatening the kid that?
Exactly.
So I was thinking, I give it a lot of thought to that, and after our lecture, that the consequences need to be relevant right after the action, so they understand.
Yeah.
So, and that there is no chance to escape.
That
I don't know what is exactly in English word.
We're gonna hold them accountable.
Something like to know the law is working. Every person should understand that whenever you do something bad, it will inevitably follow
You'll be facing the consequences. Yeah.
Yes.
And we talked about that because the word punishment was a word that a lot of parents use, as you know, when they're disciplining. And so we understand that punishment is really kind of archaic. It's in the dark ages, and we want to get people into the understanding that it's consequences, because the consequences teach. Remember how we talked about that? Yeah, they definitely teach, and that's why they have to be related, reasonable, and respectful. So that
works. That works too. That's all mostly related to my older one, because he's now in that age that he's learning.
Yes.
He's meeting other kids, he's interacting with other adults.
Okay.
Those who are not related to him as parents, and not as relatives, like grandparents could be really, really emotional towards grandchildren.
Yes.
And like letting off a lot of things.
Yes.
Now in school he interacts with other adults, so he understands. He's willing to learn about those things. With little one, I'm still need to find the ways, because he has a different personality. I believe in general the book is very helpful, starting for the kids from age 4. It's, I don't know, after 3 years old, they have this huge brain development step.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
But until 3, they get a lot of emotion still. So with little ones, some things they need to be improved, or I have to wait until
they're a little bit
later
older.
age. Yeah.
Okay, so, and I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
the program is about getting to kids even younger than that. But
Oh, really?
yeah, because here's the thing, the choice, you know how we give people choices or kids choices? That happens at a very early age when you can hold something in front of a little baby or a child and they gravitate for something and you can start to use the words, oh, you chose this rattle. Oh, you like this rattle. Oh, look at that. You chose that one. And so it just, as you get them older, it's the food, then you start would you like this oatmeal or do you want this yogurt? You know, that kind of a
It
thing.
works, but I think it works more at I would tell you, it works more at a primitive level. Little kids, it's something, I still believe that it's
Yeah.
something about
When they get
being
that
more abstract, you know,
Yeah,
when they
abstract,
understand
yeah.
the long run.
Yeah,
Like for the little one, you can always explain something in the long run. With
Yeah.
little one, it's always a short run. So he would grab a toy,
yeah.
and I say, no, you won't get it until you get all these toys together and
Yeah,
put them
pick it
in
up,
order.
Yep, put them away.
He understands that.
Yeah.
He would do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That
Yeah.
works, and we practice
It's
that
that.
every
so
day.
that's
Yeah.
a choice though. So if you
That's a
choose to
choice.
put these away, you're choosing to have this.
So he
Yeah.
would say, I want to watch some cartoons, and I would say, cartoons only after you get everything from the floor. The
Yeah.
floor needs to be clean. Okay.
And then he knows. And that's a consequence. It's
And
a
you know what's
positive
interesting?
consequence.
Sometimes he gets into this toys all over the floor. He forgets about
the
cartoons.
television.
So
it's a
that's
win-win.
how parents can always check if he actually wants the
Wants the
cartoons.
television.
Because
yeah.
now he's
Yeah.
all over the floor. Okay,
Oh.
playing with toys. Okay, good choice.
Yeah.
I love it. No more cartoons for today.
Well, this was perfect. I'm just so pleased that you took the program or went through the program, took the classes. It's a pleasure
Yeah, and for
to
me
know
too.
you and to meet you and to met your children. Also, I just want to say that Guzal actually walked to the class, which was with a half mile or something. So it was really long walk for you.
No, but for me it's okay. I mean, when I was with my older one back in Russia when he was like 6 months, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Walking
like
is what you
walking, yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps you in a good fit. It's first of all good for a mother, and
Yeah. And it was cold out there in the fall.
what was I don't know, minus 20 centigrade in Fahrenheit will be about I don't know, 10.
Yeah, and
10
you were
or something,
walking.
10, and I was walking
All
with my friend.
bundled up.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for braving the weather and doing this. And thanks for coming on as a guest. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. So if you want to know more about Parent Talk and where to take the classes, check the blog, the Parent Talk blog for the Dearborn Schools. And I'll be listing the schools that will be hosting the Parent Talk. So thank you very much for listening. Hope to catch you again next time. And thank you, Eric, for videotaping. Appreciate it.